everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Launchpad. Today, I am here with a very special guest that goes by the DJ name of Casmalia. Casmalia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Good to see you. I'm excited to be able to talk with you about a lot of upcoming stuff that you got going on, and just learn a little bit more about you. So before we dive into that, I want to first hear just a little bit of your story. I know we were talking a little bit beforehand of the first show you played, when you first got into music and first got into DJing. Tell us a little bit kind of about that story, how you first got into the scene in general.
Yeah, so I first started listening to electronic music when I graduated high school, pretty much that summer. I grew up in Georgia, so back in 2010, 2012, it was very much just bass music centric. Bass Nectar was the biggest artist that everyone listened to there at that point. Skrillex had just released a new album, and I listened to it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I don't know exactly how I did this. I finagled my way backstage at a show he played in Atlanta, and I met the in 2011. Yeah, his nicest guy. He gave me a kiss on the cheek, and he told me to ask him what DAW he used, or I didn't know. I didn't use the word DAW. I don't even know what I said. I said, "What do you use to make music?" And he said Ableton. And so I torrented onto my MacBook the next day, like a first generation MacBook. And that pretty much went from there. I drove to California in 2012, and I've just been here ever since. It's been 10 years now. I lived in Santa Barbara for 2 years before I moved to San Diego. And I went to college, and I traveled a lot. I went to a lot of different countries. I didn't really start seriously producing, putting my nose into it until 2017 is when I really got into, making house music. I think Disclosure's first album was kind of what sent me in that direction. Settle. Yeah, that's probably my favorite album of all time. Either that or Radiohead, Kid A. But that just kind of sent me down that path. I loved house, but I also still had that bass music background, so I just kind of put them together.
I love that. That's so cool. Do you remember the first, you said 2017, do you remember the first track that you made?
Yeah, I had an EP. Okay, so believe it or not, I had some really crappy, bad tracks come out on a label that I'm not even sure if it exists anymore. I don't even know why they released that. My first that you as a producer, please don't release the first music that you make. Please don't, because you'll be like me, and they're still floating around out there. If you dig hard enough, you'll find some stuff that came out in 2016. Don't listen to it; it's very bad. But the first music that I released that I was that still exists on Spotify at least, was an EP I did with Hood Politics Records. I think I was their third or fourth EP ever.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I released a track on a compilation with them, and then I did another EP with them, and that was in 2017. And I remember I had a release party at a bar in Encinitas, and it was so much fun. I rented a hotel, a big suite at a hotel for everyone to party at after the show. This was back when Snapchat was widely used. I paid to get a Snapchat filter made, geolocation to the bar I was at. So if you were there at Snapchat, there was a filter with my name on it. You could see that. I just remember, that being such a big deal for me, my first EP. And yeah, I haven't worked with Hood Politics since then. I feel like my sound's kind of gone in a different direction.
Yeah.
But they were my first release that counts.
That's so cool. Where do you think your sound is going? Because I know obviously one of the cool things about music and just being an artist is that like your sound like develops and changes over time. Where you said your sound's obviously changed in the past like 5-6 years since you started making music, but like how would you describe that change, and where do you kind of see that change going moving forward?
I do a lot of stuff right now.
Mhm.
I have night-based stuff going on, like really heavy things that I'm doing. I have a lot of the stuff been making is really heavy. I've been trying to do some more melodic stuff. I did that collab with Sean Lafayette that was really melodic this year, Escape From You. So I've been trying to do a couple more melodic things because I feel like I play a lot of varieties of different kinds of set. And some songs, like, I don't have like one sound because I'll play, like, for example, at Fresh Start, I'm playing two different sets. One I'm opening for LP Jobby, and then one I'm opening for Maya Jane Coles. So, those are two totally different sounds. And I've got originals that fit in like both of those categories. But mostly the direction I've been kind of going is honestly the night-based direction because I like the attention I get from that label. My first release on that label was played in a League of Legends tournament in Istanbul. And I got a check for like $600. And I'm like, what is this? Is this the royalties from this one song compilation album? And they're like, no, your song got played at a League of Legends tournament. So I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about video games, but I guess that's cool.
That's so cool. That's unique too. I love that. Yeah, I love what you're saying just about like having a unique sound and not really kind of being like tied down to one sound. Because that's great too. Like you said, when you're playing different types of sets or opening up for different artists or playing like different kinds of venues, like you can kind of go to different sounds, and it's nice that you have a vast library of different sounds that you can go to with that kind of stuff. I did want to ask you kind of specifically about one of your tracks that we were talking about beforehand. It's called Tethered. It's one of my favorite tracks by you. I'm also a big fan of like a ton of tracks by you, like Escape From You that just came out earlier this year. Is It a Dream also came out this year. Both like great tracks as well. Honestly, your entire library of songs, like I was going through and just listening to every song by you, and I'm like, usually when I listen to an artist, I'll like skip over a couple songs because I feel like every artist has like one or two songs that not everyone is gonna like. But for me, I was like, okay, I'm liking literally every song. I probably would have saved more time just going and hitting like on all of them. But
I like all of them.
I had to bet that way. But yeah, no, you have a great library of songs. But yeah, I want to ask like specifically about Tethered. You said that you first made that song years ago and waited a while to release it. Can you kind of like walk me through what it was like creating that track?
So I made that, I told you earlier, I thought I made it during 2019. Now I think about it, I think I made it during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Because I remember I was at my old place and I wasn't going outside. I'm pretty sure that's when I made it. Everyone was crazy then. I wrote it about my very best friend. We've been best friends for 10 years together through thick and thin. So I thought I would write a song about her to showcase our friendship. But that song could be about whatever you want it to be about. That could be about friendship. It could be a romantic relationship. It could be a thing that you love, like music or hiking or horseback riding, whatever you like to do. It means different things to different people. I was very happy with the way that song turned out. It really just flowed. It just flowed so easily. I recorded it on a Blue Yeti microphone.
Okay.
Little USB crappy mic, and I had a coat hanger and a bathing suit like sheer cover that I wrapped around it and held it up, used as a pop filter. So I tell people it's not the gear that you have, it's the quality of the idea. If you have a crappy idea and extremely expensive gear, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, having the right ideas.
It just all flowed. It worked. It worked so well. Sometimes songs will fall out of me like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I work forever on a track and it still sounds great, but sometimes it will just fall out. And I think that was what happened. It just kind of fell out. Also, the vocals, I think that was my first take. And I was drunk.
Really?
I was fine drunk. That's why I was so emotional. I was like, I love my best friend so much. I'm afraid of this.
I'm not gonna lie, I tear up every time I hear it. It's great.
I saw her cry when I sang it live at Groove Cruise, and I started to cry, and then we're both crying, and it was great. I brought her to Groove Cruise. That was fun.
I love that. Oh, and you guys probably had a whole moment when you played it and everything too.
It was a whole. Well, Jason, he's like one of the co-founders of Groove Cruise. He crawled up on stage and started crying too. Favorite.
That's awesome. I love that. How was that experience for you? Like going to Groove? Was that your first time going to Groove Cruise?
Yes.
What was that like?
It was my first time. I had never experienced anything like it. It's more than just a floating festival, you know, like it's definitely like a community. It's definitely like a community. And the thing that's so special about it is that you never know what is going to happen. You don't know what to expect. As an artist, it's really, really nice to like be in an area like that where you can just really deeply connect with other artists. You know, I did a panel where I was talking about, you know, women in the music industry. I got to talk to like female fans. And I also got to talk to some of my idols, like Halion was on the boat. I've looked up to that woman for so long and I became friends with her. And she introduced me to my now manager on that boat. So I met my manager there. One of my best friends on the boat, she met the love of her life on that boat. He moved across the country to be with her. Yeah, like you don't know who you're going to meet there. And that's the coolest part. And I got to have an experience with my best friend that we haven't had since college. We got to go to Cabo and flop around like we're 21 again.
I love that. That's so cool. You've played a ton of really awesome festivals in the past year. With that, Dance Festopia, and you have Fresh Start coming up here. How would you?
My first Fresh Start since 2019, actually, which is wild.
Oh yeah, because you had the pandemic, and then you said you were sick for the last year or two. So you're probably super excited to be coming back.
Yeah, if I could have crawled on stage, I would have. But I like literally, I almost had to go to the hospital. It was bad.
Oh gosh, ooh, yeah, it's not good. Probably good you sat that one out then.
I like lost 10 pounds from that.
That's rough.
Terrible. For anyone that's disappointed why I wasn't there, that's why I almost died. So that's why I wasn't there.
Everybody gets your flu shot.
Get your flu shot, for real.
How would you, okay, so looking back, we're kind of like nearing the end of 2022 right now. How would you summarize your year of 2022? How would you describe it?
Really, it kind of feels like jumping out of a plane and pulling on the parachute and hoping it's going to open up because I quit my job in March to tour. At that point, it was like, I can do this, you know? And I didn't have, I've had my buddy Brendan, who's been helping me with bookings for the past 2 years. He's not part of an agency. Mm-hmm. He's just really well connected. He's the talent buyer for the Midway in San Francisco. But other than that, that was it. I was on my own.
Yeah.
So I'm reaching out to people on my own and I'm booking flights and booking hotels, getting photographers, forwarding my writer, forwarding my logos, communicating with like day of show contacts, like everything for every single stop. The craziest one that I had was from Dance Festopia from Kansas City to same but different festival in Southern California. Mm-hmm. Both venues are an hour and a half, 2 hours away from the nearest airport.
Oh man.
And my sets were 12 hours apart.
Damn. Okay. So you were probably having to rush for that.
in Kansas, my cousin who owes me a favor, they drove me from the festival to Kansas City Airport, where I made my 6 a.m. flight, had my layover in San Francisco, landed in San Diego where it is pouring rain. And my boyfriend picks me up, drives me to same but different. We roll in, I think maybe less, I think it was 20 or 15, 20 minutes before I'm supposed to go on stage.
Oh man, cutting it close.
Yeah, and I'm just on my own doing all of this. It's so exhausting. I could barely talk when I got off the stage. People wanted to like talk to me. I did an interview.
Oh, did you?
I was like, oh God, please don't air this. Like I look rough. It's obvious I haven't slept in like 2 days at that point.
Oh man. That's intense. That's a very quick turnaround. I'm surprised you survived through that.
Yeah, and I just got a manager. I still don't have. Well, Brendan's retiring from being my agent. He's just so busy with the Midway. I was the only person that he was helping out too. It's not like he is an agent. Only like he was just helping me. But like he runs the Midway. He's so busy. You know, he has a kid. Like I need like an agent with an agency, and I didn't have a manager when I went on Groove Cruise. I didn't have anyone. I was totally independent, and met my manager. So now I have a manager, and I've never had one before. It's really nice.
That's so cool, and that probably makes you feel like a lot more advanced in your career too, like having a full-on manager that's helping you out with a lot of the logistics and things. Yeah.
He's great, and it's really funny too because it feels like it's kind of come full circle because all his other artists are bass music, like very successful. Amity, do you know who Amity is? He sings. Yeah, he tours with like Trivecta and like all them. So it's very much like the more melodic bass side of stuff. And he also represents a lot of amazing vocalists like Britt Laurie. I've been working with her and doing more stuff with her. So I'm his only house artist. So I've had to like introduce him to house music, and that's been fun.
That's cool too, because he could probably he probably gets opportunities for house artists a lot. And now that he has a house artist to kind of plug and throw in there, it's probably going to be really good for you too. Probably expecting something.
I got offers from Halion to go do a couple tour stops with her. So that's been, to do, because she's like my idol. To watch that woman sing on stage, she looks like an angel. Like have you seen her live?
I saw her at EDC. Was it this year or the previous year? She was so good. I like literally she was during like all the big names too. It was like at midnight, which is when pretty much every headliner goes on, and she was playing at Quantum Valley. So I like pulled my friends away. I'm like, we're going to this set. They're like, I don't even know who this is. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to this set then. And I literally like went and just cried in the back. It was great. I loved it. She talks very quietly normally to save her voice. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And so like I sing live in my sets too. So I'm also DJing though. So like I'll do mostly DJing, and then I'll sing like 2 or 3 songs in my set. But I've asked her a lot of advice about that because there's not really any female. I mean, except I think Annabelle England does it sometimes.
Yeah, she does.
That's it's pretty rare. Like when I started doing it, I have all my own gear that I bring. I plug it in directly into the mixer, and I control the levels myself while I'm DJing. And so it's pretty hard. But she's been a huge help to me for sure.
It's unique too. Obviously, like she's a big artist that you look up to, like in the past and obviously now as well. Who are some other artists that you kind of draw a lot of inspiration from right now?
So Justin Martin has always been one of my favorite artists. I met him through one of my good friends here in San Diego. He has that kind of music to be beautiful, but also like grimy and like really danceable and fun, and be able to kind of smoothly move through different styles and genres. That is exactly like what I'm aiming for in terms of like my sound. He's been a huge influence to it. And then, you know, I have tons of friends that are just so talented too. Like my friend Speaker Honey, I love listening to everything she makes, even though we're not the same genre. The flow that she has, I've made a couple of songs with her too. I love her bass work. My friend John Summit, obviously everybody loves him, but I really admire his work ethic. I've known him for a few years, and I just, you know, anyone that works that hard, he inspires me to, like, even if I have a spare moment, I'm like, laptop, you know, like I could right now, I could be doing, he inspires me in that way. Who else? Oh, Vanessa. She's another one of those people whose work ethic has really inspired me, and just, you know, connecting with your fans and how important that is. I'm trying to get involved in the whole Femme House crew that's run by LP because she's a inspiration of mine too. I actually get to meet her in a couple weeks, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, Fresh Start, right?
Yeah. I'm going on right before her on the main stage. And then I can't remember who's playing after that, but I know Justin is also playing. Maya Jean Cole's. Oh, no. I was playing inside. I know Wax Motif is playing, and John is also playing. So it's like, you know, it's friends. It'll be so much.
It's like having your whole squad there. I love it.
I know. That's why I love Fresh Start. And like the whole San Francisco crew shows up too. Like all my friends that live up there, like Riffa, or actually no, Riffa lives in Los Angeles now, but he used to live in San Francisco. Nada Wait lives up there. Ice Creams lives up there. Those are like three of my best friends. So it's like we get the whole crew together, and it just works out great. I love San Francisco.
I love that. All right, cool. Can you talk a little bit about, I know a lot of those artists you just mentioned right now, you mentioned a lot of really good names and a lot of female house artists as well. Obviously, it's a very male-dominated industry, not just with artists, but just in general throughout the industry. Can you kind of talk a little bit about what it's like to be a woman in the industry a little bit?
You know, you get a lot of assumptions about why you're there, which is annoying, especially if you are like femme presenting, you know. There's, you know, a lot of accusations of nepotism and sleeping your way to the top and things like that. I've heard that, which I think personally find hilarious, because like I literally post my I will post me producing. You can watch me do it. It's not a secret. Like I post, you know, I post my stems, I post my project files. Anyone that's ever worked with me can tell you. I don't know. I feel like we have to work twice as hard to be taken seriously. And then there's also the whole aspect of sometimes it's a little annoying to feel like there's people that haven't worked as hard as you that are getting further, and you don't know what you're doing wrong. That's something that I personally struggle with. You know, there's days where I wake up and I'm like, why am I even doing this? What's the point? Those days are hard to get through, but I think what helps me the most is having a community of other women that are doing the same thing and going through the same thing, that are feeling the same way I'm feeling. I don't feel crazy because like there's, I don't know, a bajillion other girls that are doing this that feel the exact same way, some of which are quite famous, you know? So that, you know, that's part of it. I remember I'm really glad quarantine is over, because I hated the live streams, because all of the big ones that I did, I would always get some disgusting comments in there. Like, I remember during the Dirty Bird stream, somebody asked me if I was banging Barkley. That was nice. That was really pleasant. I got one of those during the Insomniac and Mousetrap album release stream. Someone asked me if I was banging Joel. Never met Joel. Never seen him in my life except from him being on stage and me being in the crowd, but okay. Like stuff like that. And like it doesn't get under your skin. It could, because at a certain point you're just so used to it, but I don't think it's right that we should have to get used to it either. Okay. I don't think, yeah. And like for the vast majority of all the people that I've worked with, like every name that I've mentioned so far has been a dream to work with, very nice in person, incredibly, like none of the people that I have mentioned so far, like I've had any kind of like negative interaction with. There are a couple that are out there that are, not the best, but for the vast majority of people in my genre, I would like to say are really upstanding people. I think it's just kind of like culture as a whole kind of has this idea, and then you're always going to have a few toxic fans, but I know that it's easier now than it was when people like Maya Jane Cole, for example, were getting into music. She was actually the first female artist that I'd ever heard of, the only one at the time.
Wow.
So well, yeah, it can be annoying.
I can imagine. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. What are some things, I guess, that just we in general in the music industry can do a better job at? Because obviously, like you said, it's something that's gotten better over time, but there's still a lot of work to be done with it, because like how you're feeling and how other female artists are feeling or have been feeling, it honestly isn't acceptable at the end of the day. And as an industry in general, we need to do better and we need to be better. And like, what are some ways that we can do that?
I would say the first thing would be that if there is somebody like from like a local promoter standpoint, because I feel like that's where a lot of this starts and like local scenes. If there is someone in your local scene that has a history of being gross, you know what I mean? Don't book them. Yeah. It's really easy. Do not book gross people for your shows. Like, I feel like just that one thing would go a really long way towards making people feel more comfortable. Now, if we're talking about like a big scale, or we're talking about big party companies, I feel like a lot of them are doing better, or at least they're trying to do better, Yeah. One thing that I would just like to see more of in general is people booking outside of the big five agencies. I am, a lot of the places that I played this summer, I was the only artist on the lineup that wasn't with United or WAS or Liaison, or you know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like not everyone has access to that, access to those resources. There's so much untapped talent in like bumfuck Arkansas right now in Arkansas. There is some girl who is making amazing stuff with her laptop that no one has ever heard of, I want to bring back remix contests. Remember when those were a thing?
Those are great. I keep seeing a bunch of those all the time still.
Anyone can enter them. They were great.
Yeah.
We discovered so many great people from that. And we still have Discovery Project, and that's great too. But not even just for like female artists. I feel like anything that helps people that don't have access to the same opportunities is also going to help female artists, So even just like festivals making a concerted effort to book people who they would normally book, someone not with a major agency, somebody who won a remix contest, someone who's more underground. I think that would help a lot too, but it really does start at your local scene, and it starts with holding people accountable at the local level as well. If someone is gross, stop booking them for your shows. If a promoter is gross, stop playing those shows, let their company die, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it really does start at the local level. That's why I feel so lucky to be part of the San Diego scene. We have a pretty healthy scene out here, I think.
Yeah. I love the scene out in San Diego. It's great out there.
Nice.
What would you say for like, I guess people that aren't like as involved like in the music industry, and are more just like, just a typical like rave goer, like someone who just likes to go to raves every now and then. what can they do to kind of make it better? Because I don't know, you're saying a lot of really good stuff, so I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit.
Oh, you mean just like for the average person? Okay. Well,
like your answer was really, really good for that, and I just want to hear more of it.
Okay, well, like, I mean, honestly, just like calling people out that do gross stuff is nice. Like I was a little rave bunny when I was 21. I flopped around. If you dig hard enough, you'll find pictures of me and my little tutu and my candy. We've all been there. I think, harm reduction, emphasizing harm reduction is really important. And that includes consent and learning and making that be not a weird thing to talk about. Like, is your buddy dragging a half-conscious girl to his tent at Electric Forest? Maybe tell him to stop. Yeah. Maybe if you see a half-conscious girl laying on the ground at EDC, maybe take her to the Mutt tent, and this is stuff that the festivals are getting better about. We have companies like Dance Safe that have been preaching harm reduction for a decade now. That's where I first learned about it. Even something just like as simple as bringing extra earplugs and extra condoms and things like that, things that keep people safe. Because you're not going to stop the partying. It's going to happen. That's just what it is. I'm sorry. Like, we've all been there. People are going to party. Things might get crazy, but we want to keep them as safe as possible for everyone involved, while also providing an environment that is welcoming, because that is what drew me into this scene in the first place. Was I felt accepted for the first time in my life. I felt loved by complete strangers, and the music is incredible. We don't want people to associate that environment with something that can traumatize and harm them. Yeah. Not just women, just everyone, but a lot of it is on guys to call out creepy behavior when they see it in their friends. And I mean, publicly call it out. Yeah. Like, make a Facebook post and be like, this guy's a dick. That goes a long way. Yeah. It really does. It's little things. You don't have to like move mountains to change. It all starts in your own backyard. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love that. Great answer. Thank you for that. So change topics just a little bit. You kind of brought up like creating like a nice, like safe, like welcoming space for like new people coming into the scene and for your fans especially. What is a way that you're kind of hoping to connect with your fans, or like what have been ways that you've been enjoying connecting with your fans?
Yeah, so I am one of those people that combs through my messages on all my socials every single day, even like my requests folder. And I try, if someone sends me a message, like I try and like respond to everyone. I just finally got the funds to get some merch. So I'm going to have merch now that people can buy. I give away stickers at some of my shows too. And I am launching a Patreon at the end of next month, so the beginning of 2023. So that gives people even more of a chance to like connect with me. Cause I know I've got a lot of fans. I didn't even realize I had like fans until this year. I thought I was just throwing music out into the void. Until this year was the year I was like, oh, people like this. So I want to be able to connect with them more. So in my Patreon, people are going to be able to communicate with me directly. I'm actually going to be able to give them feedback on their tracks if they're producers, send them unreleased stuff, and I'm even going to be sending out merch to people. So that is what I've decided to do. And actually, it was Cohen Sound. Have you heard of the group Cohen Sound?
I don't think so, actually.
Cohen Sound. They were on Skrillex's label Ausla. They are some of the most talented producers in the world, in my opinion. They have a Patreon, and it keeps their lights on because it is so informative, and they do such a good job of connecting with their fans on there. So I'm a subscriber to them. So I decided to, take that step.
That's cool. Yeah, I know you're a super talented producer too. Like I've seen some of your stuff of like just on social media where you'll kind of do like a very like quick, like brief, like 1 minute tutorial of just how to like just do any like small little tricks like within producing. So is that kind of part of the direction that you're hoping to take it as well?
Yeah. So it'll be like that, but like much more in depth.
Mhm.
So it's like different tiers. So like I think it's like $5 a month, 10 and 15. So $5 a month, you get like a huge folder of my unreleased music. That's
Mhm.
probably not gonna go anywhere, but it's like a bunch of different genres, you know. There's trance in there, there's bass music. Like you'll be the only person that can hear my bass music if you subscribe to my Patreon. And like spicy takes, like me talking about things like nepotism in the music industry, for example, is the one that I am working on right now. Things I won't post
Yeah.
on my social, but if you really want to hear me talk about them, you can hear it. Yeah. And then from there, we'll have in-depth production tutorials. So the first one I'm working on is tech house drums, because I feel like that's very frequently asked, like how do you get your drums to sound like this and that. I'm also going to be doing like work in progress videos to show people these are the songs I'm working on right now. This is how far I've gotten, and this is how I do this and that. And then at the top tier, I'm going to be giving people production advice, like detailed feedback on their tracks, 2 tracks a month, and also stems and project files for some of my most popular songs. So if you subscribe to that, you can download the project file for Tethered. You can go in there and see exactly how I made it.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. It's going to take about a month to get everything together because I feel like I need a lot of content before I can launch that, so people feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
That's cool, though.
it's a work in progress.
I like that. Okay, so you mentioned some. I kind of want to ask you this now that you brought it up. Like you have like spicy takes in there, like hot takes. What is your? You don't have to go like. Don't give us one that like people are gonna be paying for, I guess. But what's like an EDM hot take that you have right now?
So the one I've just been working on, like nepotism in the music industry, there has been, I feel like some people might know exactly who I'm talking about. Some people might not. An artist who, I feel like this kind of gets into the territory of like what people call industry plants, which I feel like is a term that gets thrown around a lot, but I feel like sometimes the nuance between someone being an actual industry plant, which there are some in our genre, and someone being incredibly talented, but they just happen to know the right people at the right time. And that difference can kind of get lost on people. So I kind of wanted to do something on that. Is like there's a difference between a woman who wouldn't know a glue compressor from her own butthole to somebody who is a very talented artist, but they just knew the right people at the right time, or they grew up somewhere like, I don't know, Chicago, where they had all these opportunities presented to them from the beginning. You have someone like let's look at Fred again. I can't remember this guy's name. I feel bad. I should have looked this up before I got on here. His godfather is like one of the founding fathers of like pop music production, like one of the most prolific and successful pop music producers of all time. And he started working with him when he was a teenager. So like look at your favorite artist. I can almost guarantee your favorite artist knew someone to get their foot in the door. Everyone has to know someone to get their foot. I knew someone to get my foot in the door, like that's it. There's a big difference between somebody knowing somebody and someone who got married to a very famous producer and now they have tracks coming out and on these big labels, and they're playing at these big festivals without working their way up the ladder.
Yeah.
I feel, and there is a difference, and I kind of wanted to go into the nuances of that. But yeah, nepotism is really annoying. It's annoying for me too. So I thought I would talk.
Sure, yeah, because you lose out on opportunities because of it as well.
Yeah, there's like a very specific example that's going on in Chicago right now is why I wanted to talk about it, because Chicago is they are very proud of their scene there. You know, that is the birthplace of house music, and it is tight. It's a big city, but that scene is like this. And I'm blessed enough to have several friends that live there. And I feel like going into that scene with like a big leg up, where you're getting opportunities over people that have worked really hard, that are staples in that scene down there, you're going to step on a lot of toes, and you're going to make a lot of people really angry, like angrier than you would if you were to do it in literally any other town. Go do that in LA. No one will care. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Don't go to Chicago and do that. That's all I have to say about that. And people that know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Subscribe to my Patreon to find out if you don't.
subscribe to hear more of it. I love it.
Yeah.
Is there so I was like, you've done a pretty good job of like staying pretty well connected with your fans, and like through your Patreon, you're gonna obviously like take that to another level and stay even more connected with them, especially as you start to grow more and more, because with all the growth we've seen in just the past year, we're probably going to see even more in like the next year and the year after. So the Patreon is going to be a great way to like stay connected with people through that. Is there, looking back in like all the years you've been DJing, producing, playing shows, is there like a specific fan interaction that really sticks with you at the end of the day?
You know, yeah. I was at Academy in Los Angeles, and I had opened for Volak, but I was also doing a back-to-back with them at the very end of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And after I had played, I saw a fan, head to toe, rave gear, like the big pants, candy all the way up there. He pulls a candy off his arm that had my name on it, and I was like, I was so happy. I took a picture with him. I was so happy I almost cried, because like I think that was the first time that I realized I had fans. It was pretty incredible. I think that one was really great, because that was like the first time that I realized that there's people out there that were really big fans of my music. I wish I remembered his name, but I have a picture of him. And I still have that candy. I keep it in my memory box.
I love that. That's such a like special, just little like precious moment right there. I'm glad you got to experience that. That's so cool.
It was amazing.
What can because we're pretty much at the end of the year now. We coming in on 2023. Everyone talks about like New Year's resolutions and all that kind of stuff. What are some goals you have for yourself, like going into 2023 here?
So I am at the moment attempting to make, I feel like I have so many directions I want to go that I can get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. I think my biggest goal is just to kind of streamline my goals.
Okay.
My goal is to compartmentalize my goal. And I want to do more EPs this year. I've done singles, like all last year was single. I want to do some more EPs. And then I would like to get an agent. And I feel like that's out of my control.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to make it a goal anyway, because I would really like to be on Wasserman. I actually have a specific agent that I have my eye on. And so I'm not quite big enough for her yet, but I think I will be by the end of the year. Maybe I'll have
2023.
Yeah, well, she's also a friend of mine. She's a really sweet girl. I've hung out with her a few times. I don't know. It's just some of the really big agencies, they have very, very high standards. So
yeah, I'm sure.
I like to reach for the moon, and even if I miss, I'll land among the stars or whatever. So,
I love that. That's great. We might steal that from you for our brand and everything.
that is not my quote. That is like from a second grade inspirational poster I saw at elementary school.
I love, but it stuck with you all these years.
Yeah,
Do you have
I
like,
just remember it was so goofy, but like also really good point. So I like it. It's a good quote.
yeah, I like it too. I mean, not just because we're moon landing. I like it in general. Do you
I
have
didn't think
like,
that.
a
Great.
quote or like a phrase or like a mantra that like sticks with you, or like how you try to live your life or something like that?
Yeah. Oh, is there like a specific one?
Yeah, or like just any that come to mind kind of thing.
I don't know. Finding Nemo is my favorite movie.
Okay, that's a good
So
movie.
just keep swimming always comes up for me. And I think it's just more or less the vibe of like literally don't turn around, just keep going. That I feel like if I didn't do that, I would have stopped this a long time ago, because this industry, I feel like a lot of people showcase all the fun bits of it on their social media, like obviously meeting fans, playing shows, the feeling of finishing an amazing song, signing it to a label. They do not show all the disappointing parts, all the rejections, all the things that go wrong. And so I like that quote, just coming, because, you got to let it roll off your back.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I know you kind of said something a little bit earlier in the interview, but like what kind of advice would you give to a young producer, and especially like a young female producer that's just now coming into the scene and just trying to find their footing?
Oh God. Be careful. Be careful. Like, you need to find your community and find the best. Like, you have to find your people. You can get sucked into some really dark places if you don't, because especially like fresh female producers, it's like throwing a piece of meat into a lion's den. It's really gross, actually, some of the stuff I've seen and experienced. So like literally the first thing you should do is find your people and stick with them. Do not ever accept a drink from anyone that you did not open yourself. You know what I mean? That's really gross. I have to say that, but I do. That's happened to me twice during my shows I've literally played at. Be careful. Don't take anyone's stupid comments to heart. And if you can see yourself doing anything else with your life, then do that, because this is not easy. But if you cannot see yourself doing anything else with your life, if this is really what you truly want to do, then you need to go above and beyond to be special with your sound. You need to curate something unique, especially if you don't have that nepotism advantage.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dating, insert famous touring DJ here. That's great for you. I'm good for you. I'm proud of you. Go with God, Most of us don't have that, right? So most of us are going to have to find some way to stand out. And especially as female artists, we really have to stand out. So
Yeah.
Find that thing and put 100% into it and work your ass off. You got to work, like Britney Spears says.
I love it.
Listen to that song for inspiration. It helps.
Do you have a good song for inspiration besides that one?
Yeah. The Skrillex and Nero remix of Holding On.
Okay.
I don't know why that thing just gets me so pumped. I've been listening to it for 10 years. God, I love that song.
I love it. It's like your song has just been sticking with you.
Yeah. So if I need to get pumped up, I listen to that song. I've cried to that song. like that's the song for me.
Yeah.
But everyone's gonna find that song for them.
Yeah. I like that. Speaking of songs, you have a track coming out on Noise's label sometime early next year. Can you give us a little sneak peek into that track? What can we expect out of that?
Yeah, so that is a collaboration with a female artist in Seattle, Zoff, Z-O-F, Zoff. She's my friend. And that was actually a pretty nice, even 50-50 mix of production styles there. So I think people are really going to like it. It has her vocals on it, not mine.
Okay.
She did the majority of the synth work with it as well. I did the drums, the bass, and the song structure and the mixing and whatnot. It's a really good song. So I think, because like the date's been moved around a couple times, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be coming out in early March as part of the Miami pack, as we will be at Miami Music Week. It hasn't been confirmed, but I think that Techna does a Miami showcase, so we might be playing. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. But yeah, if you want to come and say hi and hang out and have the craziest week of your life, come to Miami Music Week.
Okay.
That's like my favorite week of the year. I love Miami Music Week.
Yeah, your track's coming out right around then. That's going to be a good week for you, especially.
It's going to be amazing.
Nice. I'm excited for you. Okay, one thing that we really like to practice here with Lvnding is gratitude and just being thankful and grateful for all the little blessings that we have in life every day. I know we've touched on some of it during the interview of some things that you're really thankful for, but like what are some things in life that you're just grateful for right now?
I'm grateful to have this amazing space that I can work out of. I finally have my own studio. I've been wanting one for so long. I'm grateful to live in a city where I'm surrounded by people that I love, that's open-minded and beautiful. I love San Diego. And I'm also just grateful to be talking to you and be able to talk about my music, and grateful that anyone is interested enough to ask me these questions.
Cool. I like that. That's a good answer. Well, I'm grateful to be talking to you. We're very happy that we had the time to connect and chat about all these different things. Where's the best place for fans to stay connected with you?
Right now it's Instagram, and my Instagram is Casmalia Music. But I'm on Twitter sometimes too. I don't know what's going on with Twitter right now though. Like, I don't know if
I can't that's either.
I don't know. So I guess Instagram probably is the best place to go. I don't really use Facebook that much anymore. I got my account hacked last year. That sucked.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But
I barely got it.
Instagram's the best spot to stay connected with you on everything.
I check all my messages every day on Instagram. Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. If you don't have anything else that you want to touch on or say, this has been a great episode. We really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. I know we went a little bit over time, but it was good conversation. You were given amazing answers. So we really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. And until next time, we'll stay connected for sure. This has been another episode. This has been another episode of the Launchpad. I'm Grant. This was with Casmalia. Well, thank you.